Okay. We should be good. We should be working. And yeah, this is how mine is set up on my other device. It's just that I didn't set it up prior to this because this was like, oh, what if I do this, but I can't. Yeah, I can't save any of this or change it while I'm live. But you know, it's fine. I appreciate the help. Hang on, I have to go check my other thing and make sure that it's working. Okay, we're back. Oh, I'm so glad I muted myself. I'm bringing you guys back down to me. Hi. Okay. I think this is, the music may not be the most appropriate for everything we're reading, but this is genuinely what I listen to in my free time, so that's what we're going with. I had it on hand. Is there any way for me to turn this down? Kaede, are you still here? If you are, would you let me know? Totally cool if you're not. I understand if you're like absolutely done with me. You're like, what the fudge is going on with this idiot? I can hear the music. Okay. I'm going to turn something off on my end. Let me know if it stops the music for you. Is the music still going for you? Yay! Okay, good, because it throws me off when I'm trying to read stuff, but that's good. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the help. I can't lose that audio file if I close that file. Okay, all right. You go back down here. Everything, all of my stuff is just everywhere. Okay. Yay, now you guys have something to listen to, while my dum-dum butt gets everything else on my end set up, and I closed my thing, didn't I? I did. Fudge. Fudgesicles. Oh, okay, good. Good. We're all up and working. Now you guys listen to this while I read angst, because that's what's appropriate and topical and stupid. We love that. Okay, thank you again, Kaede, for all of your help. Let me just... Kaede, do you know if when people join chat, can they see older messages, or is it just whatever is sent at the time that they join? I'm just curious if you know. Because I think it's just you and me here, so I wanna give you love, but alas. Alright, well, I will figure that out in a moment. Hopefully the music is still going. Okay, then it's not worth it for me to try. Oh, I can pin things. Good, hang on. Ha 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 ha. There we go. Close enough. Good enough. Oh, I can't pin that. Pooey. Oh well. I hope you understand that my sentiment is still there, even though, yeah, I think it's just us. Sorry. Anyways, sorry, I'll let you get back to whatever you were doing instead of being my tech support. I appreciate you. Good. Thank you. Okay. Join us. Thank you, Sayu. Thank you. I appreciate you. Well, let's be real here. You have the brain cell between the two of us. I don't. And proud. I have... I would love to be her level of scuff. There's a level of scuff, and then there's her. I need to get on that level. No, but seriously, I appreciate you. Okay, well. I am so sorry. I think that just assaulted all of your ears. I'm so sorry. Usually I'm further away from the mic. I forgot this mic is really powerful. Oh, okay, it was good? It was good. Okay, that's good. Okay, well, hang on. I'm going to get back to actually doing the thing I'm kind of decent at. Not really, but here I am anyway. Shoot. There we go. Have you read this one? This was recommended to me by somebody, and I'm like slowly making my way through it. No, but that ship is all like, yeah. This one is Doomed Yuri meets post-apocalyptic world. And I must admit, I don't vet anything before I read it, and so I'm like, oh, we're all going in this blind. Alright, I'm closing, well, if I click off OBS, it closes my chat, unfortunately, so I'm clicking off my OBS, but I'll be back in probably 30 minutes, considering that's the average length of these chapters. Again, thank you, we love you, Kaede. Let me turn down this so that hopefully it won't be too bad. Alright. Chapter 3. Flares. A breeze brushed past them, an occurrence which was rare now, blowing hair into Arlecchino's face as she walked along. The wind was light and gentle, and not enough to shake the world awake. The earth felt so still and frozen, and the air and mist was still silent, a silence which would have been unsettling had there been anything left to lurk silently out of view in the mist, amidst the dry, brittle remains of trees. The sharp crackle of dried leaves, disturbed for the first time in weeks, tumbling against ashen grass and wood. Clicking button. Oh, shoot, there we go. Tumbling against ashen grass and wood was the only thing that accompanied the sounds of their footsteps, as Farina had stopped singing. Arlecchino figured she had done so to listen to the wind and the ever-increasingly rare sounds of nature. Even in death, life still stirred occasionally. Arlecchino could tell that the silence was the thing that hurt Farina the most. Each of them grieved the loss of the world before in their own way, and each of them had the one thing that hurt them the most to lose. For Farina, it was the sound. That's why she sang, Arlecchino figured, was to restore what she could to the soundscape around her, fruitlessly trying to add color to a world which drained every drop from it. She also mourned for the loss of words and art, and other souls with which to communicate. But the loss of sound, the loss of music, and the loss of a world which spoke to her even when no one else was around, was devastating. In a world so oppressively silent, there was no room for music. And it was painful. No. And without music, Farina had nothing. And for as much as she enjoyed Farina singing, it was also painful to hear. It felt like a desperate attempt at resuscitation. She sang to no one in particular, quietly enough to where Arlecchino could hear the breath in her voice, and sometimes she could hear the shake in her lip as she held back tears which occasionally made their way to the back of her throat and made her singing raspy and unclear. It was those songs that made Arlecchino feel the most. For her, the greatest loss was that of her children. She tried not to think about it too often. She tried hard not to think about the burnt bodies of the children she had put much love and effort into protecting, the kids she had pulled out from the depravity of trafficking schemes and slavery. She tried not to think about how she had failed them, and how she had broken her promise to them. She tried not to think about it because it was the only thing that could make her cry, and she couldn't afford tears. But for all the things they lost, they did have each other, as much as Arlecchino hated to hear it. It sounded cliché to her whenever Farina pointed out that lesson from their situation, like they were living in some sort of storybook. Farina always countered Arlecchino's complaints by saying that the most cliché morals are cliché for a reason, to which Arlecchino always grunted and moved on. She couldn't help but think about it whenever it was brought up, though, and she hated to imagine a world where she didn't have Farina alongside her to keep her company, even though they didn't talk much these days, and when they did talk, the conversations were either utilitarian or grim. It was nice to have someone alongside her to travel with. She had someone left to keep safe. She heard quickened steps behind her, and before she could turn, she felt a tap on her arm which signaled nothing urgent. Turning to face Farina, she saw her already pointing a direction that led away from the road on which they walked, and following her finger, Arlecchino laid her eyes on a cart which had been abandoned, its figure slightly hidden behind the mist. Hidden slightly by the mist. From their distance, it was hard to tell exactly what was in the cart, but Arlecchino could tell that there was something in it covered in a tarp or cloth. She looked at Farina and nodded, and they stepped off the path onto the grass, which crunched under their footfalls like snow or ash. They reached the cart, and Arlecchino saw no signs of a horse or other work animal anywhere. Too many times they found a cart in close proximity to the charred corpse of the animal, which toted it either still attached or somewhere nearby. There was nothing they could do with them, of course, but it was still something she had noticed in the many carts they had looted in their time wandering. It was such things that kept Arlecchino's mind busy and attentive. They pulled the cloth back, careful to make as little noise as possible, which revealed baskets of long-since dried tea leaves in woven baskets. Farina ran her hands through the shriveled tea leaves, which had formed into little pellets. Arlecchino briefly moved around some of the baskets to see if there was anything hidden behind the taller ones, which only revealed more baskets of tea, which was disappointing, while also being a good sign, since it confirmed Arlecchino's suspicions that they were in genuine Vale, And since the cart was facing the way from which they came, it implied that they were moving north towards Jiaoying village. Jiaoying? Mark this. It implied that they were moving north towards Jiaoying village. She wondered. She watched Farina as she continued to run her hands through the leaves, and she wondered what was going on in that head, behind those brilliant blue heterochromatic eyes. They didn't move as her fingers disturbed the leaves, which released dust into the air. They just stared ahead, only seeing the memories which played on the inside of her eyes. Arlecchino let those memories play out, watching her in a silent solemnity? How do I pronounce this word? Solemnity. Watching her in a silent solemnity until a time came where she figured they should get going, and so she tapped Farina on the shoulder, gave her a small kiss on the forehead, then signaled to her that it was time to keep going. They followed their nearly perfect imprints of their boots left in the grass. They followed their nearly perfect imprints of their boots left in the grass until they reached the road again and continued trudging on. The wind had disappeared now, and so nature had returned to its eternal rest. Farina did not begin to sing again. She wasn't sure how much time had passed since they came across the cart, but Arlie was brought back to her senses when she felt the hairs on the back of her neck stand up, which soon turned to a feeling of pins and needles against her skin, a feeling which started at the back of her neck, but which slowly spread until she felt it on every inch of her body. She slowed her step in response and turned to Farina, whose eyes communicated to her that she had felt the very same thing. They stopped then and there and fixed their eyes to the fog and strained their ears to listen to pure silence. The sensation against her skin intensified until it resembled a very familiar sensation: static, heat, pressure. Both Arlecchino and Farina put their hands on their weapons and slowly approached each other until they were within arm's reach of each other. The sensation invaded their senses and caused them to sweat, which soaked into the thicker winter clothing they wore. The world was still silent, but Arlecchino began to scan the landscape around them for a place to hide, just in case. There was very little. The most they had were a few felled trees, which she wasn't sure wouldn't crumble at the slightest touch, much less cover them from whatever was out there and definitely approaching. But it was the best bet they had. She tapped the side of Farina's arm and pointed into the distance towards the biggest tree, and Farina nodded in confirmation. Their hands remained on their weapons as they gently began to make their way there, and they tried their best to minimize the sound of their footsteps. The tense silence was shattered by a deafening sound of a baleful cry, which sounded as if it were filtered through static at an uncomfortably intense volume, and with such disordinance, it pained both of them to hear. They pressed their palms onto their ears to fend off the sound before quickening their pace to the only cover they had at their disposal, practically diving behind the long-dead remains of a tree, which seemed to have fallen when the world first ended. Their bodies crunched against long-dead leaves, which dissolved into a similar ash as the grass under their feet, and had it not been for the world already being drowned in the howl of something which Arlecchino imagined towering over even the clouds of the old world, the sound of the leaves underneath their body might have been to their determent. The wail continued to ring out, sourceless and directionless, and seemingly without end. The sound shifted gradually as it continued to drone on at deafening volumes, occasionally hitting frequencies that resonated in Arlecchino's body with almost painful intensity. The thing seemingly had no need for breath, since there was no indication of it pausing. It was a continuous stream of sound which suffocated Arlecchino, the air seeming thicker now that it was no longer still. She looked over to Farina and saw that she had begun to cry, her knees tucked into her chest in fear, both at what she was hearing and in fear of feeling that pain again. She mourned the loss of sound, but she would much rather have that than be tortured with this bastardization of it. Arlecchino briefly took a hand off her ear, which faced Farina, and pressed it into her shoulder. That way, she kept the sound of the drowning. That way, she kept the sound. That way, she kept the sound of the droning cry out of her ears, while also freeing an arm, which she wrapped around Farina, who responded by leaning into Arlecchino's embrace, tucking her head away against her body. The position was uncomfortable, and the seal created by her shoulder around her ear was not as effective as her hand, but she needed to feel the presence of Farina. She needed to hold her, to know that she was there, and she needed to make sure that Farina was okay. The heat and static of the air was still there, but it did not hurt. It was only a mild discomfort, in the same way a humid summer day in one too many layers of clothing is uncomfortable. And so, they began to sweat into their winter clothes, which were meant to fend off the chill and fog. Despite that, Farina shivered in her arms, and both of them waited for that same torturous pain to return. But it never did, and instead, the cry continued to ring out, as if coming from the fog itself, and not from a beast that they had never seen, which was somewhere out there in the fog. The earth shook too, but the quivers of the earth that shook them were indistinguishable from the vibrations in the air, so heavy Arlecchino could see the particles of water floating in the air shiver in fear, just as Farina did. She shut her eyes, her ear pressed against her shoulder, beginning to hurt from the sound, and she waited for the sound to stop. After many minutes, it did, slowly fading out, until the quiet world which they knew so well returned. They stayed there in that position for many moments more, except Arlecchino took her other arm from her ear and wrapped it around Farina so that she was in a full embrace. They stayed there until the heat left their bodies, and they felt the chill invade them. It wasn't until they had remained unmoving without a fire for so long that they felt themselves begin to shiver, not out of fear, but from genuine cold, that they stood up and began to move again, Farina reluctant to stand up still. Tear tracks still stained her face, which Arlecchino wiped away with her gloved hand. Then she took Farina's hand and held it as they both made their way tentatively back towards the path. For the entire rest of the day, they both kept their eyes focused on the blurry gray of the fog, and they jumped at even the smallest sounds, which they did not expect. It was slow going compared to their pace before the encounter, and they just barely found a place to settle down before the already dim sky became too dark to navigate by. They found yet another house, although this one had been burnt to the ground, probably from a fire that was left burning, that had nobody left to attend to it. The edges of the wood which comprised of what was left of the walls, were charred black, and a small dusting of ash and white And a small dusting of white ash was scattered evenly across the cobbled floor. A fire was lit, and roaring well into the darkness, and they each took out some food and began to eat. As always, their meal was dry, but it was still food. After they had finished eating, Farina shuffled around the fire to Arlecchino and leaned herself against her arm and watched the fire. Often, they sat on opposite sides of the fire, which Arlecchino enjoyed because that gave her a better view of Farina's face as they spoke, in the rare cases that they did. But she didn't mind this either.
Arlie, do you?
Farina said quietly.
Do you ever think about letting yourself die?
The sound of Farina's speech was slightly muted, as she spoke on the same side as the ear which had been pressed into her shoulder. It had caused it some damage. She had caused it some sort of damage. I do. It's quite hard not to.
Then, why are you still here then? Why are you still here then?
Because I'm more afraid of what happens after than what we have right now. Arlecchino paused. Why do you ask?
Earlier today, when we were hiding from that thing, I realized that I was afraid. And I began to wonder why I was afraid. Like, what makes me want to keep going? What is there for me that I don't want to lose so much that I'm afraid? What is there for me that I don't want to lose so much that I'm still afraid of death? I don't quite see how life after death could be any worse than what we have now.
If you think about it, Fufu, the life we have right now isn't so bad. Arlecchino, the hand which was pinned against her body by Farina's head and wrapped around her shoulder. Huh? Arlecchino, the hand which was pinned... Arlecchino said, the hand which was pinned against her body by Farina's head and wrapped... No? Arlecchino took the hand which was pinned against her body by Farina's head and wrapped it around her shoulder. We have food, we have water, and neither are in short supply. Yes, it's cold, and yes, it's lonely. But for us, now, the only threat we face are those things out there, and they seem to be pretty rare and easy to avoid. And I'm not even sure they know we exist. All in all, I don't see it as all that bad.
Would you be okay if it were to stay like this forever then?
Of course not. I love you, and I know you love me. But as much as we love having each other around, I know there are people both of us miss. I want the old world back just as much as you.
I just wonder if it's possible to bring it back. I trust you, but it's hard for me to accept that either of us have any power to do anything about it. No matter how much I tried to talk myself through it, I just don't see a reason for us to keep going. For me to keep going.
You would rather die then?
No, I just... Sometimes I wonder about what would happen if we did. Like, what if we died together? I would think we could find each other quite easily wherever we go, and then we could live our lives together there. Maybe even in the presence of other people.
And what if there's nothing? What if you just cut our time together short out of curiosity? What if you just cut our time together short, just out of curiosity? Farina didn't answer.
I just don't know why I keep going. It feels like I should have an attitude towards this whole situation that's as cold as the mist, but I don't. and I don't like being scared. It makes me frustrated that I don't know why I still have emotions that make this journey harder.
You don't need a reason to feel emotions. You don't need a reason to feel emotions, especially at a time like this where logic and reasoning is a tool that has long lost its use. You are a creature of emotion, and it's one of the reasons I love you so. You lead with your heart. Remember? Arlecchino used her other hand to poke Farina in the forehead, which solicited a small chuckle from both of them. Their conversation faded as both of them drifted back into thought, but only for a few moments, before Arlecchino spoke up. "Do you want to hear why I keep going?" Arlecchino asked, even though she wasn't any more sure than Farina was. "Maybe that'll get your gears turning."
"Sure."
Arlecchino hummed in contemplation. I keep going because... well, for you, of course." She looked down at Farina, and she smiled. Then she looked back at the fire. "But also, I keep going because together, we refuse the ending which was presented for... We refuse the ending which was presented for us. I keep going because, together, in the face of the sick and twisted game master that can... In the face of the sick and twisted game master that composed... Oh! In the face of the sick and twisted game master that proposed... Nope, composed.
I can't read.
I keep going because, together, in the face... I keep going because, together, and in the face of the sick and twisted game master that composed that terrible symphony, we refuse their ending. I keep going because we broke the game. And I keep going because, each night, I get to sit somewhere different, in front of the warmth of a flame, and bask in the last color left in this world." Farina watched as the flame flickered. Then expanded, as if gorging itself on an influx of oxygen, before it shaped and twisted and formed its flames into the scenery of a world long gone. She saw trees with leaves, fields of tall grass which swayed in the wind, and cities with people which walked the streets. I keep going because there is a world left for us in which to live. I keep going because we were robbed of our fullest and best lives. I keep going because there are many people that we left behind that would have wanted us to keep living. I keep going because there is a small chance that, somewhere, somehow, there is a way to bring back the world we left behind. I keep going because I think there must be something here. I keep going because there must be an answer, and I keep going because, without us and this fire, this world would fall into complete darkness at night.
"So, you're saying that you have hope?"
If you want to put it that way. Yes, you could say that. Farina snuggled closer to Arlecchino.
"And when did you become a poet anyways?"
I think it was that book you made me read.
"Sure it was,"
Farina said. Arlecchino could hear her voice becoming sleepy. "Thank you for staying strong out there today," Arlecchino said. "You did so well."
"You know I'm not a kid, right?"
"I know, but it was still terrifying, and I want to thank you for staying with me, even if you didn't entirely know why you were afraid to begin with."
"Well, if I'm honest, maybe I do live for you more than I thought."
Arlecchino laughed, and she felt Farina fall asleep on her. as the full weight of her head and body sunk into her arm.
Oh my gosh. Oh, this one does things to me, man. Every time I think I escape it, nope. It just does things to me. Oh, goodness. Oh.
Okay. Okay.
Blah. Blah. Oh, God. Okay. Maybe something with less angst. Maybe something with less angst. Yeah. Maybe I don't make sounds right into the microphone. That'd be great. That would be lovely. Oh. Ah, no. There we go. Okay. What's next? What do I have? Oh, this one. I don't know if I have the time for that. You know what? I probably have time for this, and then I'll need to rest my voice. That's fine. It looks like my my mic is picking up the AC unit that just turned on outside. Okay. Let me adjust. Okay. Adjust my settings for that. That's not bad. Okay. Change my title. Okay.
7 feet of empty floor. Written by Red Pen. Read by Rashi. Naegi, says Kitty Giddy. He turns to look at her. It's just the two of them, standing across a dimly lit, windowless, concrete room from each other, surrounded by cheap metal shelving units of canned goods and bottled water. This shelter technically belongs to the Future Foundation, though they seldom use it for more than storage. Today, it's a convenient halfway point between the headquarters nobody's yet to notice them missing from, and the mission he still believes they've been sent on. She's pulled a lot of strings to have this moment alone with him, and she shuns the idea of backup. If she's wrong, she won't need it, and if she's right, she'll handle it. She's good at handling things. There's a split second of deadness to his eyes before they go bright again at the sight of her. Yeah? He says, with a nervous little smile, catching the serious look on her face. 7 feet of empty floor between them, she thinks, and she's between him and the door. Naegi, she says again, and finds herself, for once, at a loss as to how to present her evidence. There's something we need to talk about. I'm fine, he says quickly, looking away again, examining a shelf of creamed corn, as if it's the most interesting thing he's ever seen. That's what you're gonna ask, right? I know everyone says I've been different since Komaru, but I'm fine. I don't want to talk about it. She exhales slowly, steeling herself. He's brought it up for her, allowed her an opening to ease in. Allowed her an opening to ease into it gently. Allowed her an opening to ease into it gently, introduced the evidence, one piece at a time, then, and saved the big revelation for the end. If you're going to talk to anyone. If you're going to talk about it with anyone, I think you should talk about it with me, she says. Well, Asahina and Hagakure said that too. I mean, I guess Asahina lost somebody in Toa City too, so she could understand. His voice cracks at the end. She feels like garbage, because she was the one who had called him up and told him, stoically over the phone, that his sister, who was going to be fined, whose wounds weren't that serious, that's what they'd been told when they airlifted her away and left him standing in a pool of her blood, watching the Future Foundation helicopter retreat into the red skies of Toa City. His sister, who was going to live, was dead on arrival. She shoves that feeling aside. I think you could use a little less sympathy and a little more logic, anyway. I wanted to ask you about it from the point of view as a detective. Figure out exactly how it happened. That would bring you some closure, at least. Wouldn't it? Kirigiri, I really don't want to. Also, I'm not letting you leave this room until we have this conversation. He's quiet for a while, scrutinizing the creamed corn. We know how it happened, he says finally. If her theory is wrong, she's probably going to hell for this. Multiple stab wounds, she says aloud, emotionlessly, and watches as he flinches and turns his back to her. Made by, what was likely, a large pair of sewing scissors, all fairly superficial, non-fatal on their own, but a long delay before receiving medical treatment. This isn't a class trial, okay? He says, weakly, still turned away from her. We don't need to go over it like this. Resulted in death by a strangulation while she was being transported to a Future Foundation medical facility. She continues, talking over him. Naegi, I'm sorry, but we need to discuss this. Assangulation?
I've never seen this word before.
Exsanguination? Exsanguination. Resulted in death by exsanguination while she was being transported to a future Foundation medical facility. She continues, talking over him. Naegi, I'm sorry, but we need to discuss this. Fukawa has no memory of the event, and Sho has been uncharacteristically reluctant to show her face since. She's going to take the blame for this. But there are things that don't add up. Komaru doesn't fit her modus operandi, and the Makoto Naegi I know wouldn't let one of his friends take the punishment for something she didn't do. He turns around again, a glint in his eyes, and she sees she's found the right switch to flip. There's no mission, is there? No, she answers. A half-truth. The mission is hers, and it's personal. Naegi shakes his head, dislodges some of the hurt and weakness her words have planted in him. Okay, so this is a trial. He gives her a slightly disapproving look. We're really sneaking around like this to talk about it behind the Future Foundation's back? Fukawa should at least be here to defend herself, right? Right now, it's just a discussion, Naegi. We don't do trials anymore. Yeah, there's a lot of evidence she did it, Kirigiri. I'd like to believe that she didn't. Isn't that kind of lousy detective work? To just look for evidence to prove it went the way you wanted it to? The scenario I'm trying to prove, Kirigiri says, softly, regretfully, is definitely not the way. I wanted it to go. If Fukawa had lost control of her alter ego, if Sho had simply gone berserk and hurt Komaru in the crossfire, that would be so much better than what I suspect actually happened. He's watching her with those wide, trusting eyes, 7 feet of empty floor between them. She is between him and the door. Komaru's body wasn't crucified, she continues, watching those eyes. She doesn't fit Sho's MO of attractive young men. It's possible she did it, but it's also equally possible that someone just wanted it to look like she did. Present the evidence, piece by piece. Take it slow. Let the conclusion fall into place. He's good at this. He'll understand what she's saying. I just want to go over the timeline of events with you. Maybe we'll find something. Okay, he says. Finally, if it's for Fukawa, the least we can do for her is to be sure of it before we let her take the blame for it. Right? Kirigiri nods. He's taken the bait. He had to. She's turned the stakes into something it would be out of character to refuse. All right. And remember, it's a discussion, not a trial. How long were you in Toa City before you found Komaru? A few days, I guess? He's clearly uncomfortable. 3 days, she corrects him. I've checked the Future Foundation's records. You and your squad reported in upon arrival. We had complete radio silence from you for 3 days. And then you called again, alone, when you found her. It kinda seems like you don't even need me here for this, he says with a small, nervous kind of smile. It helps to corroborate. Why did you go silent for those 3 days? It's hard to get any kind of signal out of Toa City, he explains. It didn't really seem worth the effort until it was an emergency. She can't find a flaw in that logic, though she suspects that's not the full story. She moves on. What happened to the other Future Foundation members you were with? We got separated by the Monokumas. I don't know what happened to them. This was all in my report, Kirigiri, and you just happened to find Komaru bleeding out on the street directly after she'd been attacked? You didn't see her attack her at all? No, Fukawa wasn't there. No, Fukawa wasn't there. This was in my report. Yes, Fukawa's report aligns with that, at least. She claims she was hit from behind by a blunt object shortly before the time of the attack, and came to as the helicopter was arriving. Sho has not deigned to give a report. Yeah, I bet she hasn't. Yeah, I bet she hasn't. There's a darkness in his voice, which might not mean anything. If Sho really did attack his sister, he has every right to it. If she didn't, she's between him and the door. You didn't go with her on the helicopter when they were You didn't go with her on the helicopter when they airlifted her out. No, I should have. If I had, I would have been there when she... He shakes his head vigorously. No, I was kind of in shock. I didn't even think about asking to go with her. Fukawa went with her. The standard mission reports she'd endlessly skimmed through had been full of excuses about that. They hadn't examined the wounds yet. They hadn't drawn the obvious conclusion. I know. I'm not mad at her. You know. I'm really not. Whatever happened wasn't her fault. And she and Komaru were really close. And I know she'd never mean to hurt her. Watch his eyes. They're almost pleading. Suddenly, they're trying to make her understand. That's your opinion of the killer, then? That this person cared about Komaru? That it wasn't their fault? And that it wasn't their fault? That they didn't mean to do it? Yeah, he says, without breaking eye contact. Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened. It's time to propose a culprit, and she knows she has to approach this delicately. She doesn't have solid evidence, but she thinks she can bluff it. Exude rock-hard confidence that she already knows the answer, and let him fill in the blanks. Let's assume, for a moment, that Sho was a scapegoat, that she wasn't involved. Then, the most likely suspect would be the person who found Komaru directly after the attack. Wouldn't it, Makoto Naegi? He stares at her. Watches his eyes. Watch as they narrow. See his flash of anger, of understanding. See them go dull. It's ever so subtly the wrong reaction. And her heart plummets. You've got that wrong, he says blankly. You've been acting differently since your trip to Toa City, Kirigiri tells him, her voice flat and calm. Subtle things, easily explained away by grief. Had I not seen you grieve the death of 9 other friends in quick succession. I know what your grief looks like, Naegi. It is not this refusal to talk. It is not this empty expression. Those people weren't my sister. Dull, dead eyes, flat voice, filled with resignation. He's defending himself. But suddenly, he doesn't seem to care that she's accusing him. No. She wanted to be wrong. She wanted so badly to be wrong. 7 feet of empty floor between them. And she's between him and the door. And yet, your reaction to her death seemed off, somehow, when I spoke with you over the phone. Like you were reciting lines you'd practiced. I wasn't. The Future Foundation has ample evidence, she says coldly, that the remnants of despair have access to brainwashing technology. So, I need you to think very carefully about exactly what happened to you in Toa City during those 3 days in which your entire squad went missing and your sister was attacked. He's silent. She would have preferred an appalled, offended, bold-faced lie of a protest to that silence. I wanted to accuse you of this here, Kitty Kitty tells him, gesturing around at the concrete shelter, the dim, sulphurous overhead lighting, the shelves of cans. Because if the Future Foundation even suspected this, they would kill you. You understand? So if I'm wrong, tell me now. Naegi, please, talk to me. He's looking at the floor now, with those dead, unseeing eyes, a small, hopeless smile on his face. She notes the tension he's been carrying since she first spoke starts to leave him, how his shoulders sag with what she could swear is relief. That's your theory. Huh? It's fact, she bluffs, because she's confident that if she's wrong, he has the skill at debating to prove it. And if she's right, he'll assume she's already found all the evidence. Another long silence. She's right. She's right. She's a kirigiri. She knows it in her gut. Yeah, he says at last, that smile not leaving his face. I guess you caught me. Oh God, Naegi. He looks up at her, at last with those dead eyes, that weak, banal smile plastered like a mask across his face. Sorry. No, I'm sorry, she says, speaking. Oh. Yeah, he says at last, that smile not leaving his face. I guess you caught me. Oh God, Naegi. He looks up at her. He looks up at her at last with those dead eyes, that weak, banal smile plastered like a mask across his face. Sorry. No, I'm sorry, she says, speaking into the hollow, silent air of their concrete room. It's only been a few days, but even so, I should have noticed sooner. No, I should have noticed something was wrong the minute we lost contact with you. Maybe then I could have prevented what happened to your sister. It's not your fault, he answers. Does anyone else know? Togami and Asahina and everybody? Yes. Another half-lie. Asahina and Hagakure had no idea, but she talked the possibility over thoroughly with Fukawa during her own investigations into the attack, and Togami has a letter he's been instructed to open only in the event of her death. But if Naegi is really in despair, she's not going to give him any ammunition, not a shred of information he can use against them. I guess you were really sure of this. Huh, says Naegi. Deep down, she absolutely was. If she hadn't so vehemently denied it to herself for so long, if she hadn't stalled and looked only for the evidence that proved what she wanted to be true, maybe she could have helped him sooner. Listen, she says, keeping her voice calm. We'll deal with this internally. Just the 6 of us. The Future Foundation doesn't have to know. We don't know yet if this kind of brainwashing can be reversed, but we're going to try. We're going to do everything we can for you, Naegi. I promise. You really should have told the Future Foundation. You really should have told the Future Foundation, he says, apologetically, reaching into his jacket, the standard. You really should have told the Future Foundation, he says, apologetically, reaching into the jacket of his standard issue Future Foundation suit. This was a really bad idea. She'd been too confident. She can't handle this. 7 feet of empty floor between them, and despite the fact that she's stronger than he is, despite the wealth of self-defense she's picked up over the years, despite how quickly she lunges forward, she's only covered half the distance before he pulls the gun on her. She stops dead, eyes wide, as he presses the cool barrel of the pistol to her forehead. "Naegi," she says, faintly. He was not supposed to have a gun. It's amazing. It's amazing what they'll just let you borrow when you're the hero who defeated Enoshima, isn't it? Naegi says, smiling dully at her. And it is his voice, but not his words. There's some writhing, choking, cheerful thing blossoming like a fever behind his eyes. I guess you'll all have to die, if you told everyone. They'll probably all be like you, though. They'll avoid telling the Future Foundation, because they'll want to save me. Even if I kill them off one by one, they'll still die wanting to save me. His finger teases the trigger. Gently, a bead of sweat runs down his temple. It was Komaru that gave it away, huh? My reaction was off? Well, I guess even despair can't make me a super high school level actor. Right? A weak laugh. I'm just as talentless as ever. He hasn't fried. He still wants to talk. He hasn't fired. He wants to talk. She obliges, standing utterly still, choosing her words carefully. Your super high school level hope, Naegi. Your talent is inspiring those around you. It always has been, whether Hope's Peak acknowledged it or not. His smile slips, for an instant, and his hand trembles on the gun. I don't think you can really call me that right now. I don't think you can really call I don't think you can really call me that right now, kitty. Crap. Why is it you? Why did it have to be you? She shares the sentiment. If it had been any of the others, Naegi would have been the person she'd brought along to talk them down. But this time, it's up to her, and her alone. There's something I don't understand, she says, watching his eyes, always watching his eyes, careful not to antagonize. He hasn't fired. He wants to talk. He's stalling. With a talent like yours working for despair, you could have destroyed the Future Foundation from the inside with only words. Why kill Komaru and risk getting caught? Why kill Komaru and risk getting caught? The smile is back. Makoto Naegi's smile on Makoto Naegi's face, but twisted, uncanny. Despair isn't meant to make sense, detective. If it did, it wouldn't be any fun. Makoto Naegi's voice, but Junko Enoshima's words. Kirigiri feels a brief stab of white-hot rage at that, at Enoshima, at the creeping stain of herself she's left on the world. But she tamps it down. I killed her to see if I could. If I could kill my own sister, I could kill anyone. Right? Ah, there it is, the crack in his argument. She takes a deep breath, the gun cold against her forehead. You've got that wrong. His own words, fired back at him, catch him off guard. She stares at him. He stares at her. What makes you say that? Because everything I've been saying to you up to this point is a lie. Komaru Naegi isn't dead. The smile is gone, abruptly, from a face too pale and drenched with cold sweat, and she can feel his hand shaking on the gun. She sees it, that flicker of something in his empty eyes, some spark of Makoto Naegi flashing to the surface. She's alive? Komaru's alive? Yes. Yes. Truth, this time. 100%. She made it to the medical complex in time and received a blood transfusion and a lot of stitches. You were already a potential suspect at that point, so I lied to you to gauge your reaction. That's really messed up, kitty kitty, he says, sounding faint. She was unable to identify her attacker. Or, I suspect now, unwilling to identify her attacker. But she was insistent that it wasn't genocide or show, and Show herself was perfectly willing to confirm. I lied about that as well. The Future Foundation is already satisfied. The Future Foundation is already satisfied of Fukawa's innocence. The Future Foundation is already satisfied of Fukawa's innocence, and you're unlikely to have a second shot at Komaru, considering our resident serial killer refuses to leave her bedside. But I think, deep down, you already knew all this, didn't you? There's a gun to her head. She can't afford to push him too hard. But she also can't afford to let that faint light in his eyes die out again. She takes the risk. I think some part of you knew she was alive, because I think that part of you was holding back. Her wounds were shallow. You avoided major arteries. Her wounds were shallow. You avoided major arteries. You stabbed where you were sure not to hit an organ. You were fighting it, Naegi. You really believe that? He asks. Or is this just another one of those things you're trying to find evidence for because you want it to be true? I told you, Kirigiri. That's kind of lousy detective work. This is it. If she's reading him wrong, if she really is just grasping at straws because she wants it to be... If she really is just grasping at straws because she wants it to be truth, then this is the evidence that will kill her. No, I think it's the truth, because I think you're fighting it now too. You haven't shot me yet. That spark of emotion in his eyes strengthens slightly. She knows it does. He's still in there. He doesn't put a bullet in her head. And what's your proof of that? Your hands are shaking, she says. You're sweating. If Makoto Naegi was completely gone, I'd be dead by now. But you're still standing here and talking because you want an excuse. Any excuse. Not to pull that trigger. Maybe it would be different if this despair was a conscious choice you made. But it's not. It's just brainwashing. Just an outside influence trying to rearrange your head, and you're fighting it. He grits his teeth, that flame in his eyes brightening. He doesn't put a bullet in her head. You didn't kill Komaru, she says. You couldn't. You couldn't. If your argument is that you can kill anyone now that you've killed your sister, then I'm sorry to say that you failed step 1. I wanted to kill her. You stopped yourself. You can stop yourself now. You're putting an awful lot of faith in me right now, kitty kitty, he says, a quiver in his voice, and he presses the gun harder against her skull, forcing her head back slightly. He says, a quiver in his voice, and he presses the gun harder against her skull, forcing her head back slightly. It's a bad idea. It's a really, really bad idea. His breathing is short, uneven gasps. He doesn't put a bullet in her head. I have never once found it a bad idea to put my faith. I have never once found it a bad idea to put faith in you, Naegi. Kiri. Naegi chokes out, a strangled, ragged whimper of a sound. He drops the gun. Instantly, she slams her heel down on it and kicks it into the corner of the room, where it rattles against the concrete and gets lost under a shelf. His body jerks instinctively, as though to dive after it, but she seizes his wrists and wrenches him around backward, slamming his face hard into the shelf of creamed corn behind him. He struggles against her, but she never leaves home without a variety of zip ties, and after a moment of thrashing around, she's forced him to the ground and bound his hands and ankles. "You're amazing. I don't think people tell you that enough," she says to him, gently, wrapping her arms around his shoulders and holding him still until she realizes he's well and truly caught, and the fight slowly drains out of him. He laughs, a faint, half sob of a laugh, but it was fully his. Why aren't you furious at me?" I'm furious at whoever did this to you. That's for certain." "That's not really fair. The people who did this to me, the remnants of despair, someone did it to them too, and they probably didn't have anyone telling them to fight it." Kitty Kitty exhales deeply, her arms still draped over his shoulders, her face pressed into his hair, damp with sweat. "You're talking like you again." "Yeah, I think I'm gonna be okay now. You can untie me." "No." "That's fair." His tone is joking, but his face is still slick with the sweat of resisting his own despair. "I've lied to you about a lot of things today," she murmured into his hair. "But not this. We are going to get you to help." "But not this. We are going to help you. Whatever it takes." She hopes that it's not another half-truth. Whatever it takes. I'm not crying. Definitely not. Definitely not crying. I really like this one. I did too. I wasn't expecting to like this one as much as I did. Oh, I just want good things for my children, you know? I know you're a dirty Danganronpa fan, Kaede. We just want good things for our children. We want nothing but good things for them. Nothing but love and therapy. And love and therapy. Oh my god, get all my crying tears out of the way. It be like that. The crying. Oh. Okay. I'm okay. Save file. Lots and lots of therapy indeed. Oh! Yes. Oh? Oh. Okay, there we go. It's like, what did I do? I hit the wrong button. Oh my gosh. Yeah, today has just been angsty night for the angsty boys. Angsty night for the angsty boys. What now? I think I can do one more before it's probably unsafe for me to do more. Where's my other list? Nope. You know what? This is what we're doing. This is... Yep. Looks like the other one is too long. We'll do this one. Okay. Getting everything set up. That's the wrong file. Okay, there we go. Oh, I have a pronunciation for this one, don't I? Lumerians. Okay. What is this? 2.8? 2.8. Alright. This is probably going to be the last one of the evening. Maybe not. Maybe I'll do a super, super short one. This is probably the last one I'm safe to do before it's unsafe for me to do anything more. Because you're supposed to take care of your voice. I just, when I stream, choose not to. Isn't it always that way? This is silly because I know that no one's gonna watch the VOD, but I must admit, I think people would like me more if I sounded the way I do when I read storybook, because it's a lot softer and prettier. a lot more pleasant to listen to than whatever abrasiveness normally comes out of my mouth. I think that's kind of funny. Anyways, maybe last one. Well, last longer one. I don't know. This one should be about 20 minutes, probably. Oh, it's a modern AU! Oh, it's a modern AU! Oh, I love modern AU. Oh, I love modern AU. Fate Intertwined. Written by Lumerians. Lumerians? Lumerians, okay. Fate Intertwined. Written by Lumerians. Read by Arashi. Aventurine is convinced he's bound to die alone, and the 0 messages in his inbox are an undying reminder. Maybe he just skimped out on his future husband whilst swiping through profiles, but no one really stood out to him, aside from that stoic barista at his local coffee shop that would rather kick rocks than pay him any more attention than necessary. He donned a pair of thin-framed glasses, fogging them whenever the steam from the espresso machine hit them. I hit the space button too many times. Fogging up whenever the steam from the espresso machine hit them. Aventurine thought it was cute, the hint of frustration that rushed through the barista when he's forced to lift up his glasses to continue the brew. And that's why Aventurine keeps ordering an extra hot latte, customized with oat milk for his mornings, maybe a little too obsessively. Whilst waiting at the pickup counter, he watches the way the man pours the creamer into the cup, so smooth to the point you think he was an experienced connoisseur. He tries to sneak a few peeks at the barista before stopping, so he doesn't get accused of gawking, though he presumes that barista hasn't caught on. Hopefully. The so-called barista Aventurine had his eyes on was Veritas, though he liked going by his alias, Ratio. Brewing coffee was never one of his favorite pastimes, mostly just a side hustle for earning quick cash to pay off rent at a lousy Mostly just Mostly just a side hustle for earning quick cash to pay off rent at a lousy studio apartment he had, and also for his dog. His dog Matrix. Yes, Matrix was an His dog, Matrix. Yes, Matrix was an energetic troublemaker who often got himself into trouble with the other strays outside. Maybe Ratio should have read into how to take care of a dog before committing to one, especially Siberian Huskies. But he was forced into that opportunity when someone from the space station had picked up a young pup who was the sole survivor of an experimental litter. He never paid much attention to the regulars who come in, nor does he shake a leg when they plead for a discount. He just redirects them to the company policy stated on a poster board that states no discounts unless they're a corporate sponsor. Often it gets him out of hot water, but sometimes they'd make a fuss and ask for his manager, which then turns his day into a frustrating orchestra. Well, until that well-dressed blonde-haired man came in, every single day for the week now, ordering an extra hot latte with oat milk. Ratio thought nothing of the order. At least it wasn't a sugar bomb of extra toppings, but having it extra hot whilst he wore his glasses pissed him off. Only, if he was that energetic, upbeat barista who'd suggest other drinks, maybe it would have been easier to change that man's mind. But he's not. He's just a barista who works for the sake of the paycheck every month, so he'd ought to suck up the consequences. Though, it doesn't mean he doesn't feel a hint of flush or embarrassment when his glasses fog up, and he can just barely make out that vague figure looking at him closely. He was just a stranger, yet he possessed the ability to make Ratio feel self-aware of his surroundings like a psychic. So, when he passes his cup over with an unamused smile, he doesn't expect any words other than "thank you" to come out of that blonde man's mouth. Well, he was wrong. Thanks. Oh, shoot, I have to do this. Thanks. You ought to wear contact lenses next time. Wouldn't want you scorching your hand when you make my daily dose, Aventurine says with a smirk plastered on his face, taking the warm cup in his hands and waving a goodbye. That cheeky remark leaves a shallow hole in Ratio's body, and he's not sure whether to feel insulted or feel amused. So he chooses the latter. Aventurine being his first experience with a regular customer, he really has to get the situation under control, or he'll end up losing it every time he comes in again. Though he struggles to cipher a...
Yeah. Where is it?
There we go. Though he struggles to stifle. Though he struggles to stifle a chuckle at his remark about wearing contact lenses, since Ratio has perfect 20/20 vision. He just wears glasses to look more professional, or so he thinks. Aventurine leaves the coffee shop with a big grin, so big that it makes his cheekbones hurt. He skips along the pavement before whipping out his phone and going back on Tinder. A few angry finger tappings later, he shuts it off and groans. He's not having any luck with that cursed dating app that has brought many of his friends joy. He's not going to end up like Jade or Topaz, who's been spoiled rotten by admirers. He'll just be friend-zoned, much to his dismay. However, he had one more chance. That cute barista from the coffee shop he just teased earlier. He remembers that surprised look on his face. And then he wonders how it'd look if he asks him out on a date, or when they kiss, or when he's happy, and maybe he's running a little off tangent because he bumps straight into the street lamp down the pavement. Thankfully, no one witnessed that embarrassing scene, because he'd cease to exist if laughter followed up. Making his way back to his apartment, he feels ready to continue his remote job, journaling for a local newspaper. Aventurine wasn't the brightest tool in the shed, he'd admit that, aside struggling to sell out sponsorship.
Sorry, excuse me.
Aside struggling to sell out sponsorships and insurance policies, the only thing he excelled at was writing. Quitting his corporate job at an insurance company, he decided to take on journalism, working for a small local newspaper that published ratings and reviews on restaurants all around town. He wrote a few drafts for the upcoming compilation of top-rated restaurants for September, knowing that specific coffee shop was pitched in there by him. Finishing up the drafts and handing them in for a final review, he checks the time on his laptop and realizes the clock had struck 12 p.m., a little late for dinner. And so, despite being a capable, well-off adult, he settles for a cup of instant noodles to fill his stomach for the night. It's comforting. It's warm. Similar to how he'd probably feel with a man to hug to sleep every night. But he's not going to dwell on his bad dating experience when he's yet to shoot his shot with that cute barista. Aventurine then realizes his mind has been on a loop about him, prompting him to dive headfirst into his pillows in shame. His shift ends, and God, Ratio is dying to get back home and dive straight to bed. He's had an ordeal with customers screaming profanities when they've not had their way, and frankly, he's not had his way working there anyway. Walking to his apartment's floor, he fumbles with the keys before unlocking the door. He's greeted by his dog, who basically tackles him down, but all he manages is a huff and pushes him off gently, emptying his dog bowl and preparing his evening meal. Usually his friend comes in to help feed Matrix, so it's not a big deal, though morning and evening meals are often prepared by Ratio himself. Placing the filtered bowl, he watches Matrix gnaw at it and pick at it before he washes the empty bowl and dries it in his dishwasher. Taking a swift bath, he nearly falls asleep before he hears the pounding of the door from a whiny Matrix who probably thought he lost his owner. Unironically, he's not the same when the front door is open and he's scampering out on free will. He dries himself, putting on a random shirt and multicolored shorts before making a beeline for the bed, drifting off to a sweet slumber for the weekend. The weekend comes faster than expected for Aventurine, the man tossing on his sneakers and adjusting his coat before leaving the house. He admits he's only heading out to get a coffee as an excuse to see that cute barista again, in hopes he's working Saturdays. On his usual walk to the coffee shop, which is a few blocks away, he sees a dog, a big Siberian husky with a collar and tag running across the street, stopping just short in front of him. Walking over to examine the tag, he sees Matrix carved on the metal, with a phone number and a name he presumes to be the owner on the back. Veritas Ratio, the other name on the tag wrote, and Aventurine scratches his head in amusement. He's never had such a name roll off his tongue, nor has he ever met someone who donned a name. Maybe it was his luck, because the cute barista he's been aching to meet since last night catches up to the dog, eyes meeting him. He's shocked, stunned to the core, and takes his hands off Matrix's collar. He's about to make an exit before the dog grabs at his leg, pinning himself all over Aventurine. Ratio could only sigh, tugging at his collar incessantly to prompt him to lay off. Matrix does, though it's not with a whine. "He's your dog?" Aventurine asks with a slight eyebrow twitch. Yes, this. Yes, this. Yes, his name is Matrix. Didn't expect for him to get out and run down the block, Ratio says, brushing off debris from his jeans. Aventurine is about to poke fun at the name before he decides to catch his tongue and ask about something else. But Ratio has already popped the question. Were you looking for me? Were you looking for me? He asks, trying not to choke on his words before correcting himself. I mean, I don't work on Saturdays. Sorry if that's weird of me to assume. Aventurine feels something tug on his heart, and he's all of a sudden flustered, like a deer caught in headlights. Unable to respond, Ratio only looks at him, cocking an eyebrow. Then he breaks out into a smile. A smile Aventurine has never seen before. It sends him into a heart attack. What do you do? Ratio asks, walking past the blonde. He's at a loss, but then follows him, catching up to him just enough to walk alongside him on the small pavement. Sorry? What do you do for a living? You seem like a new bachelor. Am I wrong? Ratio says, his eyes tracing the healed scars on Aventurine's face. So minuscule, yet noticeable in daylight, the way his jawline feels sculpted and carved, like an artisanal delicacy. And just maybe, Ratio is interested in him, despite never diving into romance his entire life. I used to work at an insurance company. I currently do content writing for a newspaper, Aventurine says. But God, that sounded more pathetic than he was expecting. But Ratio only nods and hums. Do you want to hit the cafe? I can drop Matrix off with my coworkers. They'll take care of him. Ratio offers, and unable to hold his excitement, Aventurine agrees. The pair make their way to the coffee shop, and the familiar smell of coffee beans and freshly baked pastries hits Aventurine harder than he expects. Maybe it was time for him to admit his caffeine dependence. He goes to the counter, ready to order his usual, when Ratio comes up to interrupt his transaction. Put it on me. Nah. I don't like the way it sounded. Nah. Put it on me. Staff's discount. And also add an iced Americano with that, he says, flashing his employee pass. The barista at the counter chokes up, nodding profusely as he closes the bill, passing the receipt to his higher-up, or rather, senior. He sheepishly shuffles to brew the espresso for their drinks. Aventurine watches. Click. Aventurine watched the barista shudder when Ratio interrupted the conversation and wondered how long he'd been working for his presence to have such an effect on a regular employee. Sitting near to an open window that allowed sunlight to sit perfectly on the side of Ratio, he sees his light skin glowing beneath like dazzling stars, practically blinding him. When a call was made for their names, Ratio hushes and prompts Aventurine to stay put while he goes to get their drinks for them. He has to say, he's never not had to fight to make an ideal impression for a date, but Ratio's breaking all of the social norms for him like glass. Taking the seat opposite him, they take a sip of their coffee as their ongoing conversation drowns out any lingering noise from the crowd around them. Ratio brushes his hair away from his face in a swift, purple strand. Ratio brushes his hair away from his face in a swift motion, the purple strands framing his face perfectly. The purple strands framing his face perfectly that it catches Ratio's attention. So, you work for a newspaper? What do you write What do you write about mostly? Political? Business? Trends? Ratio breaks the ice again, whilst taking another sip of his coffee, the caffeine rejuvenating him instantly. I mostly do trends, just like I submitted the top restaurants and establishments for September. Aventurine replies, and the realization that it's October strikes him earlier than expected. Ratio nods, gears turning in his brain, figuring out what to ask next. Soon, the conversation turns dry with exchanges and knowing looks and Soon, the conversation turns dry with exchanges of knowing looks and stifled giggles between them. So, what brought you to work as a barista? Money. I have to live alone, pay rent, and also with Matrix and stuff. Not fun, but I do it for the paycheck. Isn't it not enough? Is it not enough? That sounds rough, especially with having a dog. Dogs are a lifetime commitment. Ratio laughs before he tells him his dog was given to him to take care of. He figures it helped him with taking care of others early on in his adulthood. Aventurine lets out some oohs and ahs, learning about Ratio, but that lingering question itches in the back of his mind. He's wanting to ask him on a date, perhaps make him his, but he's not really sure if Ratio wants the same, and it's frustrating him like a rash. Their conversation settles, and Aventurine has to fight the urge to bring up that question. Walking down the same path after leaving the coffee shop, Ratio manages to pick up Matrix from his co-worker's hands and get him under the leash. The walk is silent. Only the sounds of Matrix's chains and leash could be heard, alongside the rustling of leaves when the wind blew across. Ratio's about to lead the way up to Aventurine's apartment complex when he stops in his tracks, turning back to face the man with a soft smile. Will I see you again? Aventurine grins, though this was his opportunity to make a cheeky remark back. You'll have to convince me. You have to convince me to see you again. Okay. Do you want to go on a date with me? He laughs this time, and Ratio could only cock his head to the side to meet the smiling man. Will it be coffee again? I don't third wheel. Just us, a candlelit dinner. How does 6 sound? He brings his phone up to Aventurine, his lock screen depicting the time now being 2 p.m., early in the afternoon. The latter nods, and he catches himself trying hard not to blush furiously against his will. I'll see you then. I'll see you again then. I'll see you again then, Ratio says, before waving a sweet goodbye. Prior to that, he doesn't stop himself from embracing Aventurine between his arms and asking if it's okay before he plants a wet kiss on his forehead like a lucky charm, and the blonde feels like he's been blessed. Just maybe, his love life wasn't a disaster after all. He thinks as he goes to delete his Tinder profile and the numerous other dating apps he installed beforehand, wincing at the disgusting comments and messages he's received from people that were just looking for a bang. He sighs, looking at his reminders that stated his upcoming date in a few hours' time. Who knew dogs and coffee would bring him into such a situation?
Okay, hi everyone who's still here. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. I don't know why, but doing this actually made me feel motivated to catch up on the backlog of things that I should be doing, but sometimes I forget to do. I'm kind of
I'm kind of scatterbrained like that. Thank you, everyone who tuned in to listen, and everyone who's still here. For those of you who are still here, or who, I don't know why you'd be watching this VOD, but I guess for those of you watching the VOD, these stories have all been recorded independently and will be posted on my Podfix social media, and they'll be available on my AO3 in the coming weeks. They'll also eventually be available on YouTube. It's just that YouTube, I have a backlog because I have to post everything I did before. So these will be coming out around October. No, actually, I think I reached November. It'll be about November, the first week of November, give or take, which kind of shows you how much of a backlog I had to post to YouTube. Anyways, thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate you guys being here if you wanted to listen. I know that this may not be the most pleasant ASMR, and I know my sibilant S often comes in. I know how many you've done. Yeah, I don't know. There's a few. There's a few. You know, just a few. In the defense of the number, I think 30 of them at minimum are Fertibert, because I did a whole month where I did 31 Fertibert stories as a challenge with a friend. That was a month. I did another 30-day mixed thing, and you can see from my my fandoms list that I have a problem. I'm trying to get more Genshin Impact, more Honkai Star Rail, more anything that is not Fire Emblem, but the Fire Emblem is strong with that one. I also probably should stop reading Sayo, but I have a problem. I like Sayo, so if you're expecting anything other than Sayoma for the Danganronpa V3 stuff, you are going to be sorely disappointed. It's only Sayoma. It's always Sayoma. I have a problem. See, exactly, only Fire Emblem, always Fire Emblem. It's only Fire Emblem, but at the same time, it's only Fertibert. I really need to read more for the Lords. I love the Lords. Actually, that's a lie. I need more AO3 writers to write more stuff with Yuri in it. There is a lack of Yuri content on AO3. Yuri writers, not Yuri as in like women. I'm talking Yuri, whatever his last name is. My brain went LeBlanc. It's not LeBlanc. Yuri LeBlanc. It's not Yuri LeBlanc, but that's what my brain went. I go, ooh, that doesn't sound right. But I need more Yuri from Fire Emblem. I need Purple Gremlin. Please, writers, I need more Yuri. There is a lack of Yuri content. There is so much like female Byleth and Dimitri, and female Byleth and Edelgard, and sometimes Claude's there too. I don't know. There's not a lot of Claude stuff, but it's fine. But it's like there is so much female Byleth and Edelgard, and female Byleth and Dimitri, and Claude's over in the other corner, but there's no Yuri content. Again, Yuri is a character, not Yuri is two women. There's plenty of female content. It's just, I read nothing but Fertibert. No, I need you to, listen, Kaede, I need you to take up the mantle for all of the Yuri, whatever his last name is, Yuri, is it Leclerc? Leclerc? Hang on. Leclerc? I don't know. For all the Purple Boy Yuri boys, Purple Boy Yuri fans, I need them to rally up, because I need more content of them. Oh, sorry, correction. I need more safe for work content of them. You are more than welcome to like, you know, write NSFW. I will consume that in my free time, but I only read safe for work. So I need there to be more safe for work Yuri stuff, because there is NSFW stuff, and the NSFW stuff is very, very yummy. Sad face. Do we need a server just for us to split? Dude, I'm gonna be real here. I don't write, but you just need to, if we had that, we just need to get like an entire server of people who it's like, they're like, do I want to get back into writing? And it's just, hey, if you're gonna write Twisted Wonderland, you go. I wouldn't read anything because I wouldn't want to butcher any of the characters unless someone like genuinely wanted me to, but it's like, I don't know the characters very well. I would just butcher all of them. I could just make all the characters uwu boys. I go, everyone gets to be an uwu boy.
All of them are uwu and uwu and uwu.
Oh, I can think, just
No, Malian senpai, don't do that to me, uwu.
oh my god, it's just every like cursed anime fan getting into something, and it's just me ruining it for everybody. Yep. How long is a Google Doc page? Dude, that's like 1,000 words, isn't it? I'm gonna be real here. I love short stories. I do nothing but short stories. If you ever write like a vignette of, those are one page each story. Yeah, if you start writing for Yuri Fire Emblem, Purple Boy Fire Emblem, if you start writing for him, I'll 1,000% inflate the Yuri tag, by, if I have your permission, by making podfics of all of your stuff. My minimum is it has to be over 300 words. It has to be over 300 words. You don't have to do it immediately, it's just only if you want to, but I'm more than happy to support you by sharing your work and inflating the Yuri tag, and also in the process inflating my Fire Emblem tag number. You wanna know what's really sad is that the Fire Emblem number is embarrassing, but I think my Genshin Impact one is even more embarrassing. It's 45, it's not super impressive. 45, it's fine, it's not super impressive, it's average. It's, 45 stories. What's impressive is that of those 45 stories, 24 of them are from the same author from one series. 24 of them are from one author from one book, which is just their book of one-shots, which is almost half. I think it's over half. It's over half of the stories are from just one writer, which is why there's so much Haikave on the page. I do enjoy Haikave, mind you, but like there is so much on my page, and it's just it's so funny because it's not even my favorite ship. I just really enjoy doing the voices for the characters, mostly because I really like Riolet, but having to pronounce Nervalet all the time drives me bat insane. Don't get me wrong, I love Nervalet, but the fact that the English dub is so inconsistent about if it's Nervalet or Nervalet, it makes it a pain in the tusho when I'm recording for them, and I have to remember to say Nervalet, and then Wrightsley, half the time I have to retake the word because my tongue will click in the middle, and it sounds weird in the playback. Wrightsley, because it clicks against my back teeth. So that couple's just doomed. It's like, I love them so much. They're my favorite Genshin ship. I don't read enough for them because their names drive me crazy. If I stream for another 30, I'll be able to raid me? Chat, what can we do for... I'm gonna switch this to just chatting. Hang on. Let me duplicate this. Copy, duplicate. Oh, we are 1,000%. I don't know how many people are here, so it may just be me and my singular alt. Oh, I'm so sorry. I just realized that I pulled the microphone away from me. I don't know how many people are here, so it may just be when you leave, Kaede, it may just be me and my logged in profile that I have here just in case something goes wrong, like it glitches or something, coming. But even if it's 2 people, we will go. We shall raid. Yes, I will raid you. I can find something to do for. I am going to open the door to my closet. Holy crap! Holy crow! I'm hot. Ugh. Oh, I'm so hot. Okay, hang on. I'm going to switch my thing to just. Raiding with a singular person is always okay. That's wonderful. I don't know the etiquette rules. Hang on. I'm going to switch my stuff. I have to go to my other computer to switch my stuff. Okay, we're gonna BRB real quick. I'm going to do my vocal cooldown exercises and stuff. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go get lozenges and make tea and use the restroom. Love you all. Be right back. Hi, I'm back. And I also realized the entire time I was gone, it was my ending stream screen. Of course it would be. I try so hard. I do. But I have my tea. Kinda go grab some water. That's good. Be good. Be good. We should all be very good. Remember to hydrate. Hydrate or dihydrate. Okay. Me adding the other scene to this. There we go. Oh, look at me getting all this set up. I'm never prepared. Hee hee. Tee hee. Okay. Woohoo! We're all set and live and cursed so that it cursed. Okay. Make sure all my ducks are in a row. All my duckies in a row. Oh, I need a band-aid. Okay. I'm not sure what we're gonna do for 30 minutes because I'm quite literally just kind of chilling in my closet. Quite literally chilling in my closet. Not in the closet, but I am in the closet. I'm not sure what we're gonna do. But I wanna raid Kaede, so we're gonna do that. No, you're valid. You don't have to do it immediately. Just if you do it, if you find time and you wish to do it, you're more than welcome to let me know so that I may make recordings if that is okay with you. Really? You can? Wait, that works? You can raid when you're off stream? I didn't know that. That actually kind of sounds funky. So it would just be like me coming in like, hey, I'm in. You know what it is? It's the like largest way to be like, yo, I'm not lurking. Notice me, senpai. It's me appearing in chat going, notice me, senpai, my tech isn't working again. Help me. In my defense, on this computer I have almost all of my tech set up. Yeah, if I've done it as a joke for friends. That's hilarious. I must admit that normally I have this laptop set up for audiobooks. It's like getting all of it to like also work on stream. I'm like, oh no, I didn't prepare as much as I should have. It wouldn't be me if it wasn't a little cursed. Oh. It says I have 4 peoples here, and if one of them is me and one of them is you, then there must be other peoples. Hello, other peoples. Thank you for listening or putting my stream on in the background and muting me to boost my numbers. I appreciate you too. There will be some people who do it and then go back to streaming to try and steal audience and get high. Wait. How does wait? I'm sorry. How does that work? If they like. Oh, are you saying like someone will start their stream, raid somebody else, and then go back to streaming? And it's like expected that like they think that people who are watching whoever was raided will like go over and check them out and see their streaming and stay? I feel like that logic doesn't make any sense. Look, be so proud. I got my Streamlabs stuff kind of working, Kaede. I'm so proud. I figured out how to do the timed messages. I was like, I figured it out. I'm really, really dumb. But like, I was so proud. It's less likely now, but with the auto follow, what used to be a thing, Yeah, that's weird to me. That feels so, like, in my mind, so, again, I'm not the kind of person who would do this, so maybe that's why it's foreign to me, but, like, it seems so counterproductive, you know? Like, if you came to watch, like, a streamer stream, wouldn't you stay watching them even if somebody rated them? And if you were on the person who was doing the rating side, like, again, if it's just one person they raid offline and then they go stream, it's like, that's fine, but, like, I don't know. Maybe I just don't see the benefits of it because I'm not the type of person, I'm not opportunistic enough that people are like, yeah, that's what it is. But what do I know? People will probably go back to their original streamer, but they still count as a... Oh, really? They only have to watch for like a second or two to be considered a new viewer? Yeah. Oh, and that inflates the person's overall view count, doesn't it? No, okay, yeah. When you put it like that, Kaede, it makes so much sense why they would why they do that. Kind of scummy, but I get it. I understand now. I just yeah, that's... Oh, I need to hang on, mute this while I crack this. It rattling around in my mouth registered more than the cracking. It almost sounded hitting my teeth. Oh well. Silly. Oh, someone followed me. Who followed me? I gotta Sorry. I got so distracted. I'm so sorry. Who is it? Hello? I don't know if you're still here. Whoever followed me, thank you. I appreciate your support. Well, actually, when would they have followed me? I didn't get a ping today. When did this happen? I don't know. Anyways. I don't know. I'm dumb. If you ever look at your analytics, there's a separate number for unique views. Oh, I was wondering what that counted. Oh, then okay, I say this as a joke, but I also would like to encourage all of the spammy bots. Please check out my stream. It boosts my unique viewer numbers. Please, spam bots telling me that I can buy viewers. Please continue raiding my Actually, I haven't had one raid today. I'm kind of disappointed. I feel like every time I see one of those, I go, ooh, look, I've made it. The bots are here. I don't think I've gotten one today. Nope, not on this undone version of... Nope, I don't have one on this for the stream. Sad face. I love me a good bot. I think it's funny. Oh, my stupidity knows no bounds. I need to, probably once I'm done rating you, I'm gonna do make audio file redeem stuff. Oh, while you're here, Kaede, would you mind if you're not too busy? If you're busy, just feel free to tell me, I'm busy, F off, because I totally understand, like, you're working and you've got stream in, like 30 minutes? 15 minutes? Actually, 15 minutes probably. Oh, you're not busy? Okay. When do you go live? Hang on, I've got your schedule. I can look up your schedule. You actually posted your schedule. I was so excited. Dude, I was so excited. I was like, oh my god, Kaede posted their schedule. You're going live in 15 minutes, Kaede. What do you mean you're not busy? What do you mean you're not busy? Oh my gosh. I have my water. I'm good to go. Oh, okay. Okay, you're already at your computer and all that. Okay. Well, let me know, if you need to blip out. I'll extend my stream. I'll talk to myself, and then I'll raid you. Because we support... I have this lovely command. I have love command. Love command. Smiley face. Smiley face. Yeah, you can't see my I don't have face tracking, so you can just imagine that's my face, but more cursed, because this is me we're talking about. I have one for Shira, too, because I bug them a lot, and theirs calls them a furry. Because I love my friends. I love my friends. Said with air quotes, I love my friends. Like, yours is cool. So, I should probably, if I continue to go to you for tech support in the coming year, should probably make a command that's just like tech support. It's just a link to your channel. It's like, in my defense, I'm not the most tech savvy, but there's a lot of other stuff I can do, like calculating percentages. I can't do that. Can't do that. I can actually do that HSR math. I'm fine with that. Can I do tech? Debatable. Debatable.
Smiley face, smiley face.
Okay, what I wanted to ask you is with how you know how the Streamlab points, you can gamble for them? What is like an appropriate number in your opinion for like if you want to make a goal that you want to be like kind of like a stretch goal, but still like attainable enough in a way that people are like, okay, this isn't like an unreasonable kind of thing? Because the gambling feature kind of takes me out. Like, it's super easy to be like 10,000, like seeds. Easy peasy. But because you can gamble for points on Streamlabs, what do you think is like an appropriate number for like that kind of thing? Like, because I feel like if I set them at the same price I would think to set them for your seeds, the Twitch points, the Twitch channel points, I feel like you could gamble your way, take how many points people earn if they watch you for a while, week or two, and set that as the like high thing. Okay, thank you. That gives me a great basis for what I want to do. Because I don't want them to be able to like, this sounds horrible, I don't want them to be able to just like gamble if they want to gamble their way up to, XYZ. Okay, once people start gambling, then I can raise it. Okay. Because I'd like to, I'll share this with you because no one's gonna watch this VOD. I'd like to have one of my sound alerts be a 10 pull, and it's just the Aventurine alt sound, just the Aventurine alt voice line. I go, that's appropriate. But at the same time, it's like, I don't want people pulling the 10 pull thing like all the freaking time, considering how much I talk about how much I really want Aventurine. I mean, at this point, I am building 2 different types of ratio teams, and I have to just decide which ratio team I want to build more. You Star Rail, so I'll tell you. I'm debating between building an imaginary break team or building IPC follow-up. Because, yeah, but if people keep asking me to 10 pull, I will not have enough funds for Aventurine, and I need Aventurine. I need him. I need him on a spiritual level. I need him, and I really don't want to open my wallet, but I would be willing to go non-free-to-play for Aventurine, for Camden specifically. That man's voice does things to me in a way that I'm like, oh shit, wait, this is, ooh, tingle. Oh, you're so right. You're right. I should save the 10 pull redeem until he comes. Actually, you know what? I'll probably put the 10 pull redeem on 4 characters that would benefit would benefit the ratio teams that I'm making. So I think that's Silverwolf, Topaz, and Robin as of right now, with Anaxa being a swing, because Anaxa can implant weakness, he just cannot implant toughness break. So, but that's fine because I'm running Harmony Trailblazer with that, so that's toughness break, super break anyway, so it's like, yeah, whatever. You're right. I'll save that redeem until he comes out.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
What are your thoughts on, I'm probably going to do for cheaper a 10-pull standard thing, but I like the idea of using Aven's alt, but I don't think there's anything like Aven-wise that's just as clever for like pulling on the gotcha. the Buster, maybe I'll take it all, is so perfect for like, yeah, we're gonna be pulling on the gotcha today. But you're so right. I'll save that redeem until he comes out. I have a bunch of just sound clips, ideas for like sound clips, but it's like the only other things that I have, because I don't have channel points, are just a bunch of like vocal versions of what would probably normally be normal commands, which is fine. Thank you for sending me the cat cake stuff, by the way. Oh, you're right. You can do one for standard, yeah, and just hide it when you run out. You're so right. And I the reason I want one of those is because Infinity Nikki, I have standard pulls super easy. And they can even, and what we'll even do is I can even let people bank it, and I'll use the actual like redeem thing that says, hey, this is what's banked, for when we're ready to pull. You're right. You're so right. Thank you, Kaede. Thank you, Kaede. I'm really dumb. You're really, really insightful, and I appreciate it. I really do. Oh god, I'm gonna burn myself. Yeah, I'll figure out an aventurine line for that. Oh, you can also hide it when you're not playing the corresponding game. You're so right. That's a great idea. Well, no. I'll let them spend their points and then laugh at them and say, haha, this game doesn't have a gotcha. You just wasted your points. It sucks to be you. I'm not nice enough for that. Who do you think I am? You think I'm nice enough for that? If they start tipping me, then I'll be nice. But until they put their money where their mouth is, not happening. I say completely as a joke. It's like, you know what? I joke all the time. I say, if you're willing to fund my pulls, I'll do whatever you want. Me sitting here, I'll build and main a character I hate. I don't care. Though I'm not sure what the character would be. Ooh, who don't I like from Honkai? Sampo, but like not in a like I hate him way, just more in a why are you always here? Why are you always here? Why do I have to deal with you again? I love that man. He sucks, and that's what makes him perfect. I know Honkai doesn't do skins, but I'm gonna be real here. I would like the next skin to be Danhung. I understand that he has a skin. It's called IL. But I would like Danhung to have a skin. I think normal Danhung should get a Chinese outfit. I think that'd be fun. That's just my hot take. I'd really like Danhung skin, please. Because everyone gets Danhung, so everyone can use the skin. Like, it does no good if, like, you don't have the character, and so it's like I have to pull for the character just to get their skin. Like, everyone has Danhung, so everyone can have Danhung in a cool outfit. Just like everyone has Pom-Pom, and everyone has March. Someone judged my Xiao for not having his signature, but he wouldn't fund my pulls. Exactly! I have no room to talk. I was struggling to clear Equilibrium 3, and I went, oh my god, and then I pulled for the ratio light cone, and I go, this isn't gonna make that much of a difference. I didn't read the whole thing, and I went back and I go, oh, this made so much of a difference. Didn't do anything, just changed the light cone. I go, huh, okay, I understand light cones now. What do you run on your Xiao if you don't have his sig? What do you run? Do you run like one of the 4-star like good event weapons, or do you have the 5-star gotcha loss polearm, or what do you run in your Xiao? I don't know very much about Genshin, but I do like weapons specifically, but I do know what the weapons look like. It's deathmatch or something. It's the 4-star from the second currency shop. Okay, that's what I figured. It's like a 4-star. It's probably still really good. I mean, I'm gonna be real here. I think Genshin, it's less about probably the weapon you have and more about whatever artifacts and team you have set up. You know? I think that that's probably more where the stuff for Genshin comes. That and if you can dodge. Because, you know, nothing's gonna stop you from, you know, he works just as fine as his people just, yeah, see? That's what, see, you have to just tell everyone who complains, like, you can fund my, what's his thing? Primordial Jade? Primordial Jade, I think? You can fund my polearm pulls. You'd need to farm his art. Ooh. Yeah, no, I don't, no, I don't like that. I don't like the way that sounds. You know what you do is you say, if anyone wants to fund my SIG weapon pulls, I will SIG weapon pull, and then I will lovingly and happily be like, hey, just for this one stream, we'll use this weapon. But I'm not refarming for the artifacts, so 4-star polearm it is. That's the silliness indeed. Oh, I just had a thought. Do you know if there's like a Trailblazer trash can line? I should find Trailblazer, see if there's like a Trailblazer trash can line. And I should make that. Yeah, if you can't remember off the top of my head, that's fine. I'm gonna go look that up. That would be funny for the standard pull. Because standard pulls are trash. Yeah, no, I have to see if I can find an audio clip or if there's like a trash can line that I can then dub over to make it audio, which would be funny. Anyways, I will let you go. I'm gonna pull up Kaya de Kaya. I'm waiting. I wait so patiently. I'm waiting so patiently. I'll figure it out. But thank you again for your help. I'm like happily looking at the time, waiting for your stream to start. Alright, I will let you run. You have a good stream. I will wait like 5 minutes and then come and harass you. Smiley face. You can't escape me. You're stuck with me. We're friends. Yes! I love you. We support. Okay. Yay!
Hey everybody here, don't go anywhere. We're gonna raid Kaede, and support them. We're gonna support them. So don't leave me yet, please. Please don't leave me yet. We will support my friend, my tech support.
We're gonna support my tech support. Listen, I have no skills. Well, that's a lie. I can do data analyzing, but other than that, I got very few skills. I'm loud and obnoxious if that counts. You raiding them with no viewers? Lol. Is there no one else here, just you and me? It's alright. Hello there, Lucid. Nice to see ya. LOL, maybe. よかった。決めちゃったね。入れたりね。There we go. I keep clicking on things. Oh no. When is that not what happens to me? As it does. As it should be. Okay. Alright, we're gonna wait for a moment, make sure Kaede, my lovely Kaede, is online, and then we shall raid them. Because even if it's just me, it'll be okay. That'll be fun. Just me and a friend. Just me. Oh man, my brain sometimes just doesn't work. It's like kind of in that squishy quish pile where you're like, what's going on? But after this, I'm going to be recording some of my sound audio bites, so that should be fun. I have to find like accompanying video too for some of them, but others I think I'm just gonna use like static images because I'm lazy. I'm not 100% sure. The sound redeems should be normal cheapness, but I've got some stuff planned, like I'm gonna have a 10-pull sound, and then some of the other things I'm gonna have is some of the stuff I normally have with channel points, and that way you can redeem them either via channel points or stream points if I ever hit 50 followers. Fingers crossed. Keep working. But I'm gonna let you guys, you can choose a game, or choose an outfit, or tell me to STFU because I talk a lot. No point in streaming if there's no people in your stream. Hey, it's okay. I don't mind. You're here, aren't you? You're here, aren't you? And I appreciate you being here. I'm just waiting for my friend to start because they said that I can raid them, so it's okay. And there is a point in streaming even if there aren't people here. I mean, why not? I've got nothing better to do. Gives me something to do. My friend is going live. I have to be patient. Excitement. Oh, there's an ad. Thank you, Katie. I love you. I appreciate you. I'll be right over. All right, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, and creatures of all genders. We're gonna go raid my friend because I love them and I support them, and they are my tech support, and therefore I have to support them legally. Oh, they're using the tiger model today. It looks so good. Okay, we're gonna go over there and harass them. So everyone be good. We're gonna go harass Kaede. Anyways, thank you all for joining me. Have a wonderful rest of your night. Bye-bye!